because we do so much that I think, almost take for granted or don't realize the amount of things that we do. So if we can delegate as much as possible, that's great too.
Today's guest is Nurse Quoida. She's been a nurse for over 11 years, and after seeing her own struggles transitioning into motherhood and seeing all the support she actually needed, she started her own business that helps moms navigate both pregnancy and the fourth trimester alike. So today we're talking all about the fourth trimester, what challenges some moms face, what physical changes you might notice, and ultimately how you can better prepare yourself. So if you are in or about to be in the fourth trimester, stick with us. This episode is for you. All right, everyone, I have Quoida here today, and I'm so excited because we're going to talk all about the fourth trimester, and I know it's a really important topic that a lot of times goes overlooked. So just to get started, if you could just tell us a little bit about you, and we'll kind of go from there.
All right. Thank you, Christa. I am a registered nurse, and I've been in the healthcare field for about 11 years. I have my bachelor's in nursing, am a certified breastfeeding specialist, and a childbirth educator. And I've had my own business for a few years now. And years ago, I lived and worked overseas, and I saw how the healthcare system there was a lot different compared to, where we're at here in the States. And I recognized the needs and differences. And when I was working there, I just really started to have this passion for that and wanting that to be here. And when I had my daughter, she's 4 years old, and being on the other end of the stethoscope, I realized that it was a high five, drive home safely, call us if you need us kind of like mentality. And I just never realized how much help we really need as moms in that transition of that fourth trimester. Mm-hmm. And it just made me and inspired me to start my own business of nurseq.com and to help women. And so that hopefully less women would feel kind of the way I felt and just have more support.
That's awesome. And that's something that I actually hear a lot about, the kind of I shouldn't say lack of support, but there's kind of okay, you had your baby,
high five, drive home safely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for those that aren't familiar with the term, what is the fourth trimester, and how can moms prepare for it?
So the fourth trimester, it's really interesting because a lot of people haven't really heard that term, or it is starting to become more known now. But even when I was working, there was a healthcare provider. He was like, the fourth trimester, he knew I had my business, and he was like, what? But it is that 12-week period right after having a baby, and it's a time where a lot of physical and emotional changes are happening. Your baby is adjusting to the world and being outside of the womb, and you're also adjusting, and as a new mom in the life that you now have, a new chapter of life, and preparing to have your baby, you want to discuss your wishes and your wants with your partner before, or your support person. And I think it's so important to create a visitor policy, let people know ahead of time, what you're wanting and what you're thinking you're wanting, because then your support person or partner can be like, hey, you guys are on the same page. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Mm-hmm. And have a support system is so important. I think mom friends are really important, going on Facebook groups of finding local mom friends. So you can also ask other moms, okay, what's your 5-month-old baby doing? Or, oh, okay, good. That oh, my baby's doing that too. It just gives you that sense of peace. Meal prepping so that you can pull out healthy, meals that have been frozen already that you prepped. Creating a postpartum plan. I help a lot of moms with that too, because they're like, where do I even start? But that's some examples. And I really am a firm believer on have a postpartum mental health plan. Know what the signs and symptoms are, so that you can know, and then you can also educate your partner or support people so that they're kind of knowing what's going on, because 70 to 80% of women have baby blues. So you want to know what's normal and not normal. And I think just setting realistic expectations, knowing that you can't do it all, and that's okay. There's strength in that, like knowing that you can't do it all and just having realistic goals.
You said a postpartum plan, because, we hear all about birth plans and having, this whole plan for how you want your birth to go, but you don't really hear about a postpartum plan. So that's really cool that you help moms do that. So what does that kind of entail?
Just even like little things that sometimes you don't even know what to fully expect or what you should need when you are about to become a mom. So like some things you do because you're Googling a bunch of things, you're taking classes and you're learning as much information as you can, but sometimes nice to just have like an organized like checklist almost of being like, okay, if I'm going to breastfeed, maybe I should make a breastfeeding basket to set by my bed. I should have snacks and water bottles. I should, make sure I'm calling daycares before while I'm pregnant, because sometimes there's a big wait list for that. It's kind of tailoring it to what you want to do. Obviously, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you won't need that portion, but you still might want childcare for part-time, or finding a nanny, or a helper or a cleaning lady. Like there's just a ton of different things, because we do so much that I think almost take for granted or don't realize the amount of things that we do. So if we can delegate as much as possible, that's great too. Just during that time when you're healing, your body's healing. So it's just little things like that.
I'm a planner myself, so I love hearing about plans, because I think if we plan more, then I think it's kind of just being more proactive too. And it's just kind of being like ahead of the page, I guess, a little bit. Definitely. So what are some of the biggest challenges that moms tend to face during the fourth trimester?
That's a great question. I think some challenges that they have is, just adjusting to everything. You don't realize the shock that your body has and the emotions, the emotional just changes that happen. Your hormones, are dropping dramatically after having a baby. And like I said, that 70 to 80% of women have baby blues. So your hormones are dropping from that estrogen and progesterone, and the lack of sleep. Like, I don't know about anybody else, but like for me, lack of sleep is, even with that, like even with my daughter 4 years old, like I need sleep to be able to function and like be okay overall mentally. Like it definitely puts a toll on you when you have lack of sleep. Just needs and handling the physical changes of your body. Like some people say, oh, you're fine. Like maybe a grandma's like, oh, you're fine. Like you're all baby, all belly, but that's not true. Like there's so much changes that happen with our bodies, and we have to be kind to ourselves and know that it's going to take time to get back to like where you kind of were, like it takes time.
So what are some things that moms can do to make mothering a newborn a little bit easier?
Know that things won't go exactly according to plan every day. I'm a planner, that type A planner. And for me, and a lot of moms who are planners, I think knowing that you're not going to have a routine right away, but you can set some things as a routine. Like maybe your morning routine with your baby is the same, and your evening routine is the same. And that putting those into gear, especially that evening routine, is going to like continue on as your baby grows, and it's going to be really beneficial. Also, baby wearing. I tell moms it's life-saving. Your hands are free. You're able to snuggle your baby. You always want them to be in that kissable reach. You don't want them to be too low. Like you want them to be kissable on their heads. And, it makes you feel, okay, like I'm snuggling my baby, they're relaxed, they're having fun, and I'm able to like wipe down the counter. I'm able to like get myself a cup of water and like still snuggle you. Or we're gonna go for a walk. Like that's a huge thing. And I think just get as much rest as you can. And sometimes that's really hard for moms if you're a first time mom or you have multiples in the home. But getting as much rest as you can, and using your support system and your partner to make sure you get rest. And I think trying to practice mindfulness. Like we have such mom guilt. So being kind to ourselves, and also talking about those things that like we feel upset about or we feel like mom guilt about, so we can like make a plan with our support person or partner to like help us. And one big thing is definitely getting breastfeeding help early on. Like I've noticed a lot of clients I've helped that they have been struggling for a while and then they reach out for help because they were trying really hard to figure it out. But if they would have just called or reached for help sooner, it might have been a lot easier for them.
Thanks for watching this episode with Nurse Quoida. If you are looking for more support in your fourth trimester, just remember, help is out there. It's okay to ask for help, and in fact, it's encouraged. So don't ever think because you need help or because you're reaching out that you're a bad mom. You are simply human. So I hope you take that with you today, and it encourages you to ask for help where you need it. There's tons of resources. We have tons of links on our website, on our Instagram, whatever. You can go to Nurse Quoida's page as well, as she helps lots of moms transition into motherhood. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Hey guys, I just want to interrupt the end of this interview to let you know that Mom Talks with Christa is now officially a podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher app, and Google Play. So each week I'm going to read a review that someone has left on Apple Podcasts. And this week's review comes from Joe 1992. I love the topics that Christa talks about. I struggle with anxiety and just wanting to make everyone happy. And some of these episodes give me peace and such great advice. 1,000% recommend to all moms. Thanks, Joe 1992. And we will read a review every week. Plus, there are giveaways on our Instagram every single Monday for leaving reviews. So if you found this episode or any episode of Mom Talks with Christa helpful, please leave a review. We'd love to hear what you think of the show. And thanks again for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talks with Christa. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. It should be down here somewhere. We release new episodes every single Wednesday. And if you're not following us yet, be sure to follow us at Mommy Knows Best on Instagram. And remember, if you're watching this and doubting yourself, you are a great mom. So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.